I don't understand it. The chaos is back. Things have been going crazy around the league. Our bye week is over. I don't know if we'll be any good. I'm gonna need some insurance. Hey, Blood Demon! Yo. You think you can make the Steelers win this week? Thanks, Blood Demon. I appreciate it. Now let's see what chaos we'll have to deal with this week. Hello, Steelers Nation. Welcome to another episode of Steelcast, a podcast where you don't have to be a Steelers fan. But it sure does help. I'm your host, Zach. What in the world is going on? You tell me, because I don't know, and neither do you. Attack! And today we're going to be breaking down the Week 7 predictions for the 2023 NFL season. And I went 10-5 last week, which isn't too shabby, despite the upsets that happened this week, putting me at 64-29 on this season. And I am 7 subscribers away from being able to live stream games. So check your subscribe status, because if you're unsubscribed, that's the wrong status and you should make it correct. Now, let's go ahead and dive into this week. Starting off with the Thursday night game, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the New Orleans Saints. The Jaguars went a little Duval on Gardner Minshew, their former QB, who hadn't thrown a pick all season until throwing 3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, which has definitely improved over the past few seasons, but it's their offense that's really been the kicker on that team. In their offense, when Trevor Lawrence is playing well, is a potent unit. Playing the New Orleans Saints, who didn't look so hot against the Texans, which is not something I ever thought I'd say. Derek Carr being held in check, Kamara being held in check by the Texans, and C.J. Stroud throwing his first pick of the season, only for it to fumble and then be recovered by the Texans. So, I don't know. I guess the RNG gods are in the favor of the Texans. So, I'm going to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. And, oh my goodness, what's happening? So, yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars win this game. We'll see how Trevor Lawrence is on his injury. But regardless, I have a lot more faith in Jacksonville than I do in New Orleans right now. Then you have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Chicago Bears. The Bears losing Justin Fields to injury and probably would have won that game if he wasn't injured. And then the Raiders, well, they beat the Patriots, which isn't saying very much. But Jimmy G did go down with an injury, so that is saying a lot. I don't know if Jimmy G will be playing this week. It might be Brian Hoyer. It could be the rookie. We don't know. But it's probably going to be Hoyer. But the Bears are still bad. They won't have Justin Fields for a while. So I am going to pick the Raiders to get the win over Chicago. But, at this rate, I don't even know anything anymore. So who knows? But then you have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Indianapolis Colts. We talked about the Colts already. Got walloped by the Jaguars, and it wasn't even funny. But the Browns knocking off one of the undefeated teams in the San Francisco 49ers. Never a phrase I thought I'd ever say. Normally that's what the Commanders do, but we don't talk about that. So the Browns only winning, they held the 49ers under 200 yards of offense. The 49ers getting very banged up that game. The Browns like to hit hard, but won off a chip shot. That should have been a chip shot field goal. It was a 41-yard attempt for Moody, and he missed it. So there you go. I am still going to pick the Browns to win here, though. It's a bit of a weird pick, because you would think, the Colts are going to rebound this week. But the Browns have a record-breaking franchise defense. holding teams to only 200 yards of offense every single time they play. So I'm going to pick, since Gardner Minshew didn't play so hot last week, I'm going to be bold and pick the Browns, which is something I normally don't do on this channel. But who am I to judge, right? Then you have the Buffalo Bills taking on the New England Patriots. The Bills almost choked to the Giants. Yeah, I almost forgot they were a team there for a hot second. The Giants, the only reason they lost that game was, well, A, they didn't go for a field goal with 5 seconds left to go in the second quarter to halftime. And secondly, they just, I don't know what that first and goal was. Like, they pulled a Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl, basically. And instead of getting picked off, it was incomplete with a little interference from the defender that wasn't called. So, oh well. I am going to pick the Bills to win. They should not have won last week's game, but regardless, they're still better than the Patriots, so they're going to get my vote here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. But then you have the Washington Commanders taking on the said Giants. The Giants we just talked about, keeping it close with the Bills, which should have never happened. And then you have the Commanders who beat the Falcons and end Desmond Ritter's undefeated streak at home. And like I said earlier, the Commanders are really good at ending streaks. I am going to pick the Commanders to win this game because, like I said, I have no faith in the Giants. Tyrod Taylor has been playing better, despite only being one game, than Daniel Jones. So it is a home game for the Giants, so I expect a little fight from the Giants. But they lost a lot of secondary pieces to injury last week, so that will definitely affect your performance. I am going to pick the Commanders to win this game, and we'll just see how this goes from there. Then you have an NFC South matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons, we just mentioned, getting crapped on by the Commanders. They only lost by 8, but Desmond Ridder getting picked off in the end zone with 5 minutes left to go in the fourth. So what else do you want from me? And then Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing to the Lions, and the Lions are good this year, so we'll let slide. Tampa Bay is a very good defense. Baker Mayfield playing pretty well for once in his life. I don't know. Feel kind of good for the guy, which is some phrase I never thought I'd ever say. But I do have Tampa Bay winning this game, only because I do not have enough faith in the Falcons anymore. But yeah, Tampa Bay wins this game. Baker Mayfield keeps looking like a Buccaneer legend, and they keep leading on the division. Then you have the Detroit Lions in a bit of a intriguing game against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens. Interesting game here, because interesting spot, because even though they beat the Titans last week, which was pretty much expected, they're going up against a Detroit team and the first 5-1 team on this list that we're going to talk about this week. Of all the 5-1 teams, the Detroit Lions have been playing the best. The only loss they ever had was in overtime against the Seahawks. So they haven't lost in regulation this season. And they've been biting kneecaps all season long. And the Detroit Lions, after the losses of 2 undefeated teams, seem to be the favorites to win the number 1 overall seed for the first time in 20 years. Although it might be a little bit more than that. And they're going to win their division regardless. But are they going to get their number 1 overall seed? Interesting. And the Ravens, like I said, it was an ugly win, second most field goals ever in history, but they won the game, and that's all that matters for them. I'm going to go rogue here, and I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions to win. but be wondering, why is that rogue? Well, it's a home game for the Ravens, and we all know how they play at home pretty dang well. However, I feel like the Detroit Lions could be the sneaky good team that makes it pretty far in the postseason. And a win against Baltimore would really set this in stone. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Because the next game is the Pittsburgh mother-loving Steelers taking on the LA Rams. The Pittsburgh Steelers having a bye week last week, which they very much need. They did not fire Matt Canada during the bye week, but they should have. Because they're going against the LA Rams. They're going to face off against Aliko Witherspoon this week, and Cooper Kupp is back. And Puka Nacua is an absolute monster of a rookie. I expect him to be on Joey Porter a lot this week. This game has a lot on it. Because if the Rams win, because if the Steelers win this game, and the Ravens lose, they're back on top of the division, and the full game ahead that we were hoping for last week. Interesting thing to note, if the Rams win, then they'll be fighting for playoff contention. They are a 3-loss team right now, but if they win, they are looking pretty good. They could potentially make the postseason with the way things are rolling right now between all the other divisions. I am going to pick the Steelers to win this game, obviously, but because a lot of implications for Pittsburgh are riding on this win. So we'll see what. And after the rest last week, the Steelers should be ready to take on whatever challenge the Rams throw at them. But you got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. I'm scared, to be honest. But if I know Coach T, he's going to pull something out of his butt. And it's going to be awesome. Then you have the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams losing. Cardinals able to hold on to the Rams for halftime before getting blown out. Excuse me. I was trying to assert my dominance there, but no, in all seriousness, the Seahawks losing to the Bengals. The Bengals are now starting to find their rhythm, which is obviously very worrying for me. I am going to pick the Seahawks to win this game, only because the Cardinals are basically a tanking team. But, yeah, who knows what's going to happen to both of these teams this season. And then you have the LA Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. No, I skipped one, dang it. You have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Denver Broncos. Both of these teams are garbage. I'm just going to come out and say it. Both of these teams are so bad. It's not even funny anymore, really. The Packers resting last week with the Steelers on the sidelines. And then Denver Broncos, well, they played KC, so nothing needs to be said about that. It's tough for this game. Really, really tough. But I'm going to be bold. Because you got Tom Grossi versus Brandon Perna. I'm going to go with the Grossi posse. I'm going to pick the Packers. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of faith in that. But Denver doesn't really have a running game. So if they can force Russell Wilson to make mistakes, the Packers have a pretty good secondary when it's not all banged up. And Jordan Love has some young ones to throw to. And the only really good defensive person the Denver Broncos have is Pat Surtain. And they traded away Randall Gregory to the 49ers. So I see this as a win for Green Bay, regardless of what happens. And then you have the LA Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers charging it up against Dallas Cowboys, which they should have won. And then that 49ers fan, that mysterious 49ers fan from the Chargers fan from the fourth quarter, I cannot talk today, my goodness, was like, for the last 5 minutes of the entire fourth quarter, and it was hilarious. I saw that on Twitter, and I was like, "This is the greatest fan reaction I've ever seen in my entire life." And then they ended up losing, and she was like, "Well, the Kansas City Chiefs who beat the Broncos. Nothing really needs to be said there. Chiefs win, more than likely. Chargers charger it, and that's pretty much how these games go most of the time. Then you have the Sunday night game. The game of the week. You have the Miami Dolphins taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of these teams are 5-1. There's 5-1 teams in the NFL. The Lions, the 49ers, the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the Kansas City Chiefs. And you have two of the most potent offenses going at it against each other. But the problem that arises here is that Miami's offense has 2,995 yards of offense. And half of those, well, really only 1,000 of them, already have been accomplished by one man, the cheetah himself, Tyreek Hill, who is going to be a monster in this game. Watch him and Darius Slay go at it. Maybe James Bradbury a few times. This game, I have circled on the calendar. I will not be live streaming it, but I really wish I was. Because this game is going to have so many implications. The Philadelphia schedule for the next few weeks is kind of rough, kind of tough. If they were undefeated, I'd still pick Philly to win this game, but they're not anymore. They just lost to the Jets. The Wilson-led Jets. And they didn't even get like 200 yards of offense either this week. So the Miami Dolphins really cannot be stopped unless a team with like a really good defense shows up out of nowhere. Nothing is going to slow them down. Sure, Devin A-Chain is injured, but like you still have Raheem Mostert back there. And sure, the O-line's been up a little bit with Teron Armstead out, but and Mike White threw a pick 6 last week against the Panthers. But I expect Tua to come out here slinging. I'm going to go bold and pick the Dolphins to win this game. I'm going to go rogue. And I know no one of the Philadelphia Eagles fan base wants to hear me say this. And I have some family who are Eagles fans. And they are probably going to watch this video and go to the comment section and rage or call me or freaking Facebook Messenger me and be like, Zach, what are you doing? This is the first time you've picked against the Eagles all season. But I'm sorry. If your defense does not show up to this game, you're going to lose 99% of the time. Just look at the Broncos game. Like, I don't know. Nothing is slowing the Dolphins in my opinion. But here we are now. Could the Eagles do it? Yes. Are they going to probably do it? I don't know anymore because of last week. So last week I shattered not all, but some of my confidence in the Eagles. But then you have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Minnesota Vikings in a Monday night matchup. Kirk Cousins sucks at Monday nights, but the 49ers also lost. And lost Trent Williams. Well, he might be fine. But the biggest losses are Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, the two most potent guys on that offense. And your starting tackle, Trent Williams, should be okay. Let's hope he's fine. But for the 49ers, it's that defense. That defense is a potent unit. The Vikings defense got better this season, but Minnesota's offense has been making so many mistakes on the ball that the only reason that they even stay in these games is because their defense is better than it was last season. And Kirk Cousins has been playing better than he was last season, but they're making too many mistakes on offense. I don't know if JJ is going to play this week, Justin Jefferson. So both wideouts of both of these teams are out. However, that also means your son's a starting running back is out for the 49ers. Both teams will have pretty even run game. So it's all going to come about which quarterback is going to come out slinging. And I am going to pick the San Francisco 49ers to get the dub. And really, this week could be one of the craziest weeks in the NFL because I think this sure was crazy. Chaos returned and destroyed everything. And now I'm having to make deals with the blood demon just to make sure we have wins. But I'm ready, and I hope you are too. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you have winning this week? Let me know. I am your host, Zach Attack, and as always, you're in Steelers country.